Super Pro.
I was debating doing selfie stick, but I'm like, I don't want to hold my arm out that whole time.
You should do meta glasses.
You would think, but it's actually not better meta glasses.
Why is that?
Because they just have zero storage. Like they're all locally stored, from my understanding, and the battery's also not long enough to do a podcast. That's what I initially looked into, because I was like, what a great excuse to get some meta glasses.
To get meta glasses.
But no, because when you look into like the battery life and how like useful it would actually be for this, it's actually not as good as I would hope. But like, if you're
so people do YouTube videos and stuff, they just like
it's
go for like one little clip at a time. And then
it's mostly just like YouTube clips.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen some people, if they're doing like spy type shit, like, you know, like I exposed this whatever, and they just go in with meta glasses. But yeah, I don't think they can record all that much. Like, from my understanding, it's no more than like 10 minutes storage, and it's gonna die in like 30 minutes, especially if you're recording. So yeah, but it would be really cool if once they get better and like more storage, or you can just kind of stream it straight to the phone. Like, if you could just, while it's recording, it doesn't store anything on the glasses, it just sends it straight to the phone.
Yeah, which I would assume that's how it works. I feel like most do you remember Mark Roper?
Yeah.
He did like those glitter bomb things for porch pirates.
Yep.
Because that was the whole thing, is he'd be putting 4 phones in it at once, right? and record it to the cloud continuously.
Yeah, see, that's the smart thing to do, but I think it's easier because their phone's recording to the cloud, not some camera device sending it straight to the thing. And also, those glitter bombs were like pretty technologically savvy with, I'm pretty sure it was the 4 phones, but then also there was a computer inside that was sending that. And they had a little bit of more space. But those glitter bombs, I used to watch those videos all the time.
My favorite.
They're pretty. Yeah.
But then he got his own business, and now he's a business.
Yeah.
He started making
Crunch Labs. Yeah. I mean, the story of Mark Rober is pretty crazy.
He's a NASA engineer.
Yeah, and he's like, nah, I'm good.
He got one Ellen interview, and he's like,
yeah.
I'm out of here.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, it was.
Have you started recording?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even realize.
You know,
when'd you start?
Pretty much.
Oh, when you saw me? I didn't even know.
At the car. But like,
I didn't expose my
you can start whenever.
Social security number.
Yeah. The beauty of editing. I'm learning slowly. Well, I say I'm learning editing, but it's really I'm learning how to upload files, put them in a little thingy, squash them together, and then.
That's editing. I say I use a code for my job, but it's really just reusing the code that someone's made before.
Yeah.
And like changing a couple of things.
It's amazing how you can spin a resume out like that. It's like, I know how to do this, but realistically, I know how to do one small part of this that I've probably forgotten, but I've done it before, so I can do it again. Yeah. That's how she goes. But yeah, Mark Rober's like a classic engineer YouTube person to watch. Have you seen Veritasium?
He's a Queen's alumni, of course. I've seen Veritasium.
Is he really?
He is. He went to Queen's for. I'm forever angry. I didn't realize he came back as like did an alumni talk.
Oh really?
When I was in 1st or 2nd year. I didn't know about it. I've loved Veritasium forever. He made a video a couple of days ago about I always forget the name of the company, the Dutch company that makes all the machines for microchips,
like wafer like making company.
Photolithography.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'd also watched that video.
Yeah. I never knew that's how they're made.
I thought
anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that most of chip making was done in like Taiwan or something. That's
I
why
think that is where they have the facilities with those machines and the personnel to do it and the history of doing it. But the Dutch company is the only one that makes the machines.
So it's a Dutch company, but they're doing it in Taiwan. But they also said you can buy one of those machines for $450 million.
You can. I think you have to pair it with the personnel and the experience and the designs to make it. To make the chip itself, or to
so the device is just the lithography.
That's the tool that everyone needs, but you still need other stuff to put it together and use it properly.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I've been watching a bunch of those videos and just being like, man, I had absolutely nothing. Like the fact
I
that
love Veritasium is my favorite because they haven't caved into the short form content. They've like doubled down on
longer and longer
50-minute videos.
Yeah, because I was watching some of their old ones and it's all it gets longer as it goes on instead of getting shorter.
Common. That's the opposite.
Yeah, I like a lot more longer form. Like sometimes it's nice to watch just like a 10-minute quick video, learn about something, but it's also nice to have something that will go actually into the depth that you need and cover a lot more of the bases. So I like the idea of a podcast much more because it is just a lot more in depth. But yeah, Veritasium, when they go like 50 minutes in, you can, and it's not like they got a whole production team behind it as well now.
Yeah, it's big, man. Yeah, you see his semi-retiring video? Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm about to chill. I got some people that's gonna do it for me. But it's fair, like they've been working, like the people that are quote unquote taking over, they've been producers or like working on videos for a long time. So
they've been in the background.
They've done their shit. Dude, this is actually a crazy walk. It's where I used to walk to elementary school. I remember having a head-on collision bike to bike in this bike lane.
At least it was bike, man.
Yeah, no, but I was like,
who was going the wrong way?
Grade 3 or something. No, it was the other guy. The other guy was, I knew him. I don't remember his name or like much about him other than I know that he was short and older than me, and he always pissed me off because, well, firstly that he just straight, like I think he was playing chicken with himself and then just never moved. Like he knew I was coming at him.
Trying to impress anyone. It was just
there was no one around. I was like literally just going home from school and he's just flying down the hill because I'm going up the hill, he's going down the hill, so he's got more speed. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like I just remember this thought, like, what are you doing? We're gonna crash. And then I'm literally just steering left and right, like, and he's matching my steers left and right. Oh man. And then yeah, just head-on collision over the handlebars. A piece of salt in my boot.
Did you get hurt?
I mean, not like seriously hurt. Like I was in like grade 3, so it's probably crash, cry, run home.
What was worse, you getting hit by the car that way?
Yeah. No, but it wasn't that bad. I just remember being so mad at that guy because I'm like, that was the most avoidable collision ever. Yeah. Avoidable collisions is,
that's how you
make me angry.
Text and drive. No drinking and driving.
True. Don't drink and drive. Avoidable collisions. You know what's not an avoidable collision?
What?
Ice. Ice is a...
It's an unavoidable collision?
Well, sometimes. I feel like...
What do you... Wait.
The most unavoidable collision isn't like a miscommunication or anything. It's like the elements. And what's the one element that causes the most people to crash? Ice.
Oh my... Wow. I don't... In my head, I thought you were talking about the American ice. I'm like, I thought this was some sort of segment.
Yeah, let's go talk about some politics and their head-on-head collisions.
Unavoidable collision is ice cave.
I start talking about black ice and it's like, whoa, where did we get racial here? Yeah, no, because I was driving in the storm a couple days ago and almost got into a collision, so I'm like, that was the least control I've ever had in a car, and it's...
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was driving back from Ottawa during there's like an ice storm a couple days ago. And honestly, it was actually not that bad, but we were trying to time it so that we didn't hit it, but we hit it halfway on the 401, which is probably the worst place to...
No, back roads is probably worse.
Maybe, yeah. Canadian winter. Well, kind
close
of
calls?
Canadian. It's not the same in Vancouver. We don't have this in Vancouver.
Oh yeah, Vancouver. You don't got the snow. Is it like never snow in Vancouver? Or just like rarely
So,
a dusting?
From what I understand, because I'm new to Vancouver, but if there's a millimeter of snow that actually stays, the city shuts down. If you can see snow and it doesn't melt on
Like
impact,
touching the ground?
yeah, it's a bad day.
Golly.
But yeah, we just get constant rain at this time of year, which
That
is kind of nice
sucks.
because you don't have to wear I've never worn this green jacket.
So do you take it with you though, like as a just in case?
I have it there because I'll go skiing or something.
Oh,
but,
true.
I don't know. It's kind of nice that you get to wear your most of my nice clothing is thin jackets and sweaters and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Just sweater season all year.
Sweater season all year. Yeah.
Does it get warm in the summer?
I don't think it was as hot as it would get here, but they do have, it's really, I remember growing up, I'd always hear in a YouTube video or something, they'd be saying wet and dry season, and I'd be like, that's so interesting. It's nothing like that in Ontario. We just have winter and summer, and in the summer there's storms or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's actually like that in Vancouver. It's like, it's raining every day this time of year. In the summer, I don't think I saw a cloud. Like,
Really?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't that hot. I think it was just drought.
What do you prefer?
I think it's definitely more comfortable day to day in Vancouver. But this is kind of fun. It's nostalgic. This is all I've known.
The snow is nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see snow until I came here this break.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's fair though, because I can see how, I don't understand why there's so many elderly people in Canada, because like shoveling snow is not an easy task, and like just maneuvering around life in the cold and snow is just harder than moving to Florida. So
That's true.
yeah, I think the snow builds character, you know.
It's character.
You
This
appreciate the summer more.
Yeah.
I wonder how many shoveling related injuries happen each year.
It's gotta be the major. This is the reason our emergency rooms are overcrowded in the winter.
The shoveling
People try to
incidents.
shovel.
Nothing about the extra car crashes because of the ice. It's all the
extra
shoveling.
Car crashes. What's flu season? What's
It's just
the shovels. The shovels are killing our grandparents.
for real. It's like I could see a grandparent like got a shovel like this, just walking with it, and then you hit like a sidewalk crack that's kind of offset a little bit, and it's just stabbed in the gut. Emergency room, ruptured something or other. I feel like it's mostly back injuries though. Someone trying to lift heavy snow and they're just not able. Yeah.
I watched Die Hard for the first time last night.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
It's always been the movie that I've always been like you'd hear. So I would hear in a conversation about what's your favorite Christmas movie, and there's always that one guy that's like Die Hard. I'm like, that seems like me if I watch Die Hard. So I'll watch it every Christmas. It goes every Christmas passes. I'm like, I'll watch it next week. And Christmas passed again, but I'm like, whatever. I'll watch it last night.
Just get it in.
And it was fun.
Is it a Christmas movie?
It's
'Cause that's always the debate I hear.
Technically a Christmas movie. It happens during Christmas.
But is happening during Christmas the same as it being a Christmas movie? How many movies have a Thanksgiving dinner and it's not like, it's a Thanksgiving movie?
I don't know.
I feel like
that is the debate, I guess. Yeah.
it's a classic movie is like has something to do with it being around the holiday season of like a different holiday. And
But would you say like Harry Potter is a?
I also have not seen Harry Potter.
I've never
So
seen Harry Potter. That seems like that's so interesting.
I'm not
your
very-
family. It seems like the type of thing that you guys would watch.
you
I don't
think?
know why. Yeah.
I think my brothers, at least one of my brothers, has
it just
watched
seems like
it.
a family. Like let's binge Harry Potter for the
Oh
holidays.
no,
or
we don't
something.
watch movies together.
Oh, that's interesting.
Everyone watches their own shit. Like we got
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
streaming services, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of just watch your own stuff. My parents will watch stuff together,
Right.
and like sometimes if I'm getting something from the kitchen, I'll like sit down for like 5-10 minutes and watch with them. But it's not it.
Yeah.
I'm 80, what do they call it? Stupid?
Wait,
I don't know.
You're 80 stupid?
Yeah.
Maybe ADHD?
Could be that one.
Could
like
be
low
that.
attention span
Right.
for something that I'm not like intentionally doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a no way to refer to that one.
That's the wrong way to refer to that.
Wrong, bad of you.
Oh no. I'm gonna get arrested by ICE. Oh.
Did you hear about the Somali bakers?
Yeah, I've been like seeing stuff about it. I've not looked into it at all. But like,
I haven't really either.
it makes sense that that's what's happening. Like, scammers be scamming.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's a little, I don't know. I think it's blown up just because it's kind of a big YouTube. Look at what social media's done and the government can, or something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's fraud everywhere.
Yeah, people are like see fraud and they're like, whoa. People have been doing fraud since day one.
Yeah, my middle name's fraud. I'm Romanian.
Yeah. You spotted it from a mile away. You're like, ha, typical.
You guys just found out about it?
Yeah, no, but it makes sense. If there's anyone giving out money, other people are going to be like, ooh, money is flowing in this direction. How can I dip my bucket in that stream with the minimum amount of effort of holding the bucket?
Right. Not me, though. I'm altruistic.
You're optimistic? Say, fraud doesn't happen. People are just...
Oh, I'm altruistic.
Oh.
I'm optimistic.
I thought you said I'm optimistic. I'm like, how does that help?
No, I had a funny thought, though. I mean, I am far from the first person to think about this. I haven't like heard anyone say it, but there's no such thing, even altruism, there's no such thing as doing something for someone else technically, because the thing driving you to do that thing is happy chemicals, and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I was trying to think like who, like even in any context whatsoever, that as much as you might be thinking you're doing something for someone or you're being selfless or anything, at the end of the day you're doing it because it kind of feels good to you.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
or even if it feels bad to you, it feels good that it feels bad or something.
there's a lot of stuff there, because that's something that I was like thinking about a long time too, because even there's stuff like even in Christianity where it says be selfless and stuff. It's like when it also says the meek shall inherit the earth. That's interpreted in many different ways, but it's one way that it's interpreted is like, if I'm like, I don't know if meek and selfless are like, they're definitely not a one-to-one thing, but selflessness can come into it. And it's like, okay, so if I'm being selfless, then I get something, I'll inherit the earth. So it's like there's always a reward in some type of way to you for doing certain things. And it's like, you can optimize for long-term reward, you can optimize for short-term reward. And like helping someone else, like what's the most selfless, quote unquote, like if you say there's nothing selfless, it's got to be on a spectrum of selflessness.
See,
where it's
my thought experiment was like, you're a psychopath who's pure, like the only moral thing that you stick to at all is just a utilitarian view. So
okay.
It's like doing good for society, but you're a psychopath or sociopath. I actually don't know which one applies in this situation, but somebody who
has no personal feelings.
Exactly. And then, but the only thing you're focused on is utilitarian, is conducting yourself in a utilitarian way.
Okay.
That's to everybody. That doesn't necessarily mean harm to you, but whatever, applying yourself in any given situation that's best for society.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, I don't think, because at the most fundamental way, why do you think that way? It's because it like somehow in your head it's the good way, the proper way to think, and it's therefore
like, why be utilitarian at all?
Well, no, like why does that person then, what's their motivation to do that? It's in their head, or it's somewhere within their being, they feel like that is the correct way to go about it, and doing any accomplishment that represents that view feels good to them, feels accomplishing, and therefore at the end of the day it's kind of for them.
Wait, but if they're a sociopath or a psychopath or whatever, then they're fundamentally non-feeling.
See,
then are you asking what is their motivation to do anything?
Yeah. You've got it. Motivation to do anything is fundamentally based on your limbic system and reward system and having whatever the happy chemicals that make you want to.
It's not always optimizing for the happy chemicals though. There's things that you do that's for logically you understand it will make you happy in the future. So it's not even, like you can make the trade of no happy chemicals now for knowing you're going to get happy chemicals in the future.
But that knowing, I think, causes like second degree subliminal happy chemicals. You know what I mean? It's not like, go to the gym and it feels crappy right now or whatever. For someone who doesn't enjoy going to the gym.
Yep.
Who am I talking about? Like, it doesn't feel good now, but you can do it all knowing that this is great for me in the future and I hate it now. But that knowing it's good for me in the future, there's a reason that you're sticking there. And yeah, it's logical. It doesn't feel emotional. It feels more cerebral. But that cerebral thought process it's somehow causing you to want to be there, right? And that has to be in some way part of your reward system. I don't know. I actually don't know the science on this, but I literally had this thought like in bed a couple nights ago. Like, there's no way.
Well, there's a lot of like there is a lot of worldviews that come down to like ultimate selfishness. Like I don't know if you've read any Ayn Rand.
No.
But she's a post World War II like philosophical writer. She writes fiction, but it's like she's got her own like philosophy where it's like fundamentally selfishness is a virtue, where if I'm doing something good for me, like if you think about it game theory wise, the optimal solution for me will also have will not just be a purely optimal solution for me, because if I optimize for me and nobody else, then there's no one else to play the game with and they're gonna shut me down. Right. Like you have to do good for you and good for others, because if you don't do good for others, there will be no good for you to do, if that makes sense. Right, yeah. And like there's that whole worldview comes down to like being selfish is a virtue, and if you are acting unselfishly, then it is actually detrimental to both you and the people around you. Because if you were the best you, then you could help the most amount of people.
Right.
And when you help the most amount of people and allow them to be better selves, then they can also help you. Like it's that kind of thing where it's the people who are claiming that they're not selfish, like, oh, I don't want to work so hard because I don't want to like be incentivized to collect all the money, get all the money that I can. But if you did produce value to get a bunch of money, then you can both spend the money on people that are also producing value, and you've produced value for other people. Yeah. So it's a win-win in that type of situation. And it's like,
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, I haven't read it in a while, but that's kind of the takeaway, where if I am if I am working on myself, which seems like a selfish thing to do, but if I didn't work on myself and become better personally, then I had
a detriment
to everybody around me.
Okay.
So that's the kind of, like, anything that you do, you should do it in, there's also, you can be selfish and selfless at the same time, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because everything 100%. Is
everything's
a trade-off and a spectrum.
Everything's a spectrum. No such thing. The binary code and the spins of quarks or whatever. Yeah. Nothing's binary.
Exactly. Yeah, because there's many things that...
I take that back. I'm pretty sure that's what whole quantum physics is about. It's not binary or something. It's everything until it's not everything.
Well, I think it's like...
everything collapses or something.
Well, it's binary in the sense of there's technically only two conditions. Like, but it's a probability, so it's a spectrum of
waveform that represents
probabilities.
Which state it's in, and you don't know until you observe it.
exactly.
I know a little bit of quantum. Not my field, but I know it.
Yeah.
That's always been so fascinating to me. I don't understand any of the math at all. I don't even understand the math that is the base level for the math that is quantum physics.
Yeah.
It's so...
And the thought experiments are so unintuitive too. Like,
yeah.
I'll get explained, like in Schrodinger's cat, that the cat is both alive and dead in both of the boxes. Okay. It's like, bro, just look at the box and you'll be able to tell. But yeah, it's the whole idea of spooky action at a distance.
Yeah. Have you seen that? There was a pretty recent Veritasium video too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was how Albert Einstein was kind of shunned by the physics community about proposing, what did they call it? Like non-instant or instantaneous at a distance.
Instantaneous action at a distance.
It's essentially like kind of string theory a little bit. Right?
Yeah,
I think that's what that is, right?
Basically, in Einsteinian physics, light is the fastest thing. Like, yeah, from my understanding, light is the fastest thing in the universe, and nothing can travel faster than it. But when you go into the quantum world and you have two like entangled particles that shoot out at different distances, like they shoot out opposite directions, and when you look at they're entangled, so they are both particles are both states of the particles at the same time. But when you observe one particle, that collapses the entanglement of the other one. So when this one goes from being from being both things to being one thing, and this one instantaneously has to be the opposite of it.
I hope your GoPro is catching this.
Yeah, go up and down. It instantaneously has to be the opposite, or else it doesn't work. And when it's instantaneously flipping like at a distance that like
light wouldn't be able to travel in that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would just not be possible without something happening at a distance. But there's like ways to get around it, but every way to get around it has some sort of limitation to it in another way. But I don't know all of these like lanes that you could go down to make it work or not make it work or whatever, but I think quantum is like it's interesting, but does it, I don't know, to me it's like, does it really matter that much? I don't care. I don't think I'm going to be the one to figure it out, so move on.
I think the thing that quantum is very interesting to me about is I think it drives home the idea that nothing is binary. That's my
nothing is what, sorry?
Nothing's binary.
Nothing's binary.
Yeah, my biggest pet peeve is extremism, and I used to go around saying I don't know if I can say I'm a centrist anymore, because I actually kind of agree with being centrist doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you're actually standing for anything in particular, but I am kind of like...
No, but that's not really what centrist means. Centrist is I have an amalgamation of views that average out to the center.
That's what I mean, but I think that's not technically the definition of centrism, because I think centrism, the way most people would think about it, is I just take the middle opinion on everything, which isn't what I mean. I know, that's not exactly what I mean. I
just threw your hands up. What the fuck?
Of all over the shit, all over the place. But that's
true centrism is not being able to predict your opinion based on another opinion you have.
I agree. But that's unfortunately not the direction that society is taking at the moment. And so that's my biggest pet peeve. And I love the idea, the thought experiment that quantum is literally everything is in some sort of probability state, and you don't know where it is at any given moment until you observe it. But at the fundamental level, every single atom is doing this somehow. Every single particle that exists that makes up you, that makes your brain fire in a certain way. It's just so interesting to me, because it kind of just implies you don't know anything and everything's on the spectrum. Stop being so damn extreme.
I think that's a very valid way to think about it, where there is no true binary and everything is much more complex than it seems. But humans do not deal well with complexity whatsoever.
We love boxes, we love labels.
Box and labels is the reason that we are able to get here. And fiction in general, where you're about to like just kind of in your brain throw labels and stuff and be like, okay, this, okay, I understand the world, I can move on. You don't have to like over analyze stuff as much when it's a lot simpler. But yeah, humans are like very much optimizers for path of least resistance, and path of least resistance is listen for the loudest, most confident voice. Okay, I agree with him on what he's saying there, I can repeat that. Yeah. It's a lot easier to repeat things than to critically come up with them, and I'm very guilty of it. I like,
that's why we need AI to think for us.
Exactly. Just tell me what to do.
You know, my favorite, we were driving in Mississauga a couple of days ago, and you were like, I worked on that elevator or whatever.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to walk around and think of, like, someone has been here before and done a thing here. Someone laid this pathway, or someone decided to put the path here.
Yeah.
I don't know, society's so cool, people do different things.
One step further is doing like that in like a large historical context. It's like,
that's true too, yeah.
Like, what was here 500 years ago when people were like first settling the Americas?
Indigenous people. Case closed. No, no, but yeah, I agree completely. What animals stood around? Did there used to be polar bears down here in the Ice Age? Maybe a saber-toothed tiger. See, like, what's gonna go in this plot of land?
This plot of land?
This is the middle of Oakville, and there's just an empty plot of land.
I mean, I think some
dealership somewhere.
I would imagine this is some investor bought this piece of land and has thought, what is the easiest thing to do to make money? Not put anything on it, just sit on it for a long time until someone wants to buy it for enough money, and then I'll sell it.
That's the worst part. Is just give me a home, damn it. Stop sitting on it.
Yeah, that's the one kind of, like, there's always that, I always find that funny quote, like, capitalism is like the worst way to do things except for all the other things. Yep. I'm like, that quote too. In my mind, that's so true, because as we were talking about earlier, fraud has to be everywhere, so you need to find a system that's the most robust to fraud. Very true. And that is like
also, I thought that, is that about capitalism? I thought it was about democracy, but
oh, it could be democracy.
Same thing. Let's say same thing.
As someone who lives in Canada, same.
Sure.
It's capitalism, but like kind of not really.
Oligarchy.
Yeah.
Loblaws and Telus and Air Canada.
Yeah, there is a lot of shit, but like how anything changes is like, the reason that I like engineering so much is because the thing that drives the most change is technology, in the sense that, say, TELUS has their monopoly on most of the phone servicing, and then a new technology comes out where like instantaneous texting with no, like, it's just through the air, like some different thing than cellular. They would need to adapt, and if someone can like come out with that technology and beat them to it, then they are now the new winners, and there's an overturn of some kind. But it does,
you would hope that that's the case every time.
That's not going to happen every time, because they have more resources, so they can put more into the research.
Google with AI.
Yeah.
Is a good example.
Yeah, so they can just like keep doubling down on new things. But yeah, that's a bit of an issue for the little guy. But yeah,
fork in the path though, and it's a very philosophical.
I don't know, I just start walking.
Wrong turn. That's a good way to go through life. Just start walking.
Well, there is no wrong decisions. There's
really, if
experiments.
You think about it, there was no binary path here. We could have gone straight.
It's
and
true.
We only chose this path once we observed it, and and we knew we were on this path.
Yeah, and now we don't know what's on the other path. It's crazy. If we had I like thinking about those thought experiments where it's like, if I did walk that other path, how much different would my life be in 30 years? Because like, for example, if we didn't take this path, we never would have saw that squirrel on that tree, that graffiti on that tree, that manhole that's covered green for some reason. Why is it green? Like, there's so many thoughts we wouldn't have had, and so many different thoughts that we would have had going down the other path.
So true.
Yeah, it's
I think we would have discovered cure for cancer on the other path. So
yeah, how many different paths would it have taken to get the cure to cancer?
You ever heard that guy who invented the PCR machine? I think that was also a Veritasium video. We keep on going back to this.
It's interesting shit.
He was like on hallucinogens when he...
Oh, I've seen that video. I've seen the thumbnails to that video, but I'm like,
it's an interesting...
I've definitely seen that on Joe Rogan. I don't need to watch it here. LSD, I've probably already heard it. But yeah, didn't the guy who discovered PCR also be like, this is not what like it's supposed to be used for?
Maybe. Yeah, I think he...
Like right before he died, he's like, stop using it for diseases. That's not what I discovered this for.
His drug use definitely caught up to him in his age. Yeah, I don't remember the specifics of it, but I think it became kind of controversial. His claims, and people were very like, did he take his Nobel away?
Really?
I think so. I think it was something like that. I'm fuzzy on the details, but...
How can you take someone's Nobel away? They got it.
Well,
actually, do you know the story behind Nobel?
Alfred?
Yeah.
Yeah, we go way back.
Alfred and you go way back?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He actually stole dynamite from me.
He discovered dynamite in Romania?
Yeah, we would blow up the remaining wallets after we did it. No one could find them.
Crazy cool. Another fork, we go this way. I don't want to walk on the main road.
No, I agree.
Look at that guy just chilling there.
Damn. You know what that reminded me of? I actually don't know if I can say the name of it. Then I'll get canceled. Nigahiga. You remember that guy?
Nigahiga?
Yeah, that guy.
Bro.
He, you remember, I don't know if you ever watched him.
That was the first YouTuber I ever watched.
Parkour. Do you remember that? He would, like,
I do.
He would play horse with parkour.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I don't even think he was that good at parkour, but
I don't
like,
think so either. It was just
he was very athletic.
Yeah, yeah. They would just like go to a playground and then hurt themselves.
Yeah, but they didn't hurt themselves that much, from what I remember. They were like kind of pretty chill with it. Yeah, I enjoyed Nigahiga. Like, I liked his how to be ninja video. Like, that was like one of the first like big YouTube videos.
Same with the Illuminati video.
Oh yeah, like his own little
Illuminati
movie.
is real.
Yeah, I haven't seen those videos in so long, but those were like the first little bit of poison that sucked me in, and now I'm addicted to YouTube.
Same.
It's tough.
Okay, I'm sure there's worse things to watch on YouTube than this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully this isn't the pit.
Yeah, that's... I also think about the balance between consumption and production, and until now it was like hard for Earth to, like, the consumption and production levels were about the same, because you can only produce, like, you can only consume so much as you produce. But now with like YouTube and stuff, everybody can consume one thing, like entertainment wise, if that makes sense. Right. And I think that's like, fascinating.
If that's necessarily true though. I think it's just become exponentially more visibly imbalanced, but I think that's always been imbalanced. There's no way everyone always consumed every speck of food that was produced. Or I
guess the difference has just gotten
way bigger.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
And I think that's not a good thing, because
no, that's fair.
Like, when you, like, how many people, like, it's a hard thing to quantify the personal amount of consumption to production. Mm-hmm. Do you do it temporally? Do you do it by impact? Do you do it as a mix of different factors? Like, there's no real way of... Damn, that's a leaning tower of snow.
There's glass in it.
That's ice.
It's ice, bro.
Brother, you've been in Vancouver too long. There's glass on the ground.
Hey man, the only ice I know is the southern border.
No, you're gypsy ass one. Is that crystal? Can I take that?
Yeah.
Damn, that's funny. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I don't know how you could quantify the level of production to consumption that feels right, but like I feel like as a kid, like the natural life path of production to consumption should overall go from I'm consuming a lot as a baby to I need to consume less and less and less, and then I can start producing. That's like what seems like the right thing, kind of wise. But I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I'm going very slow from the consumption to production. Like I'm still consuming so much more than I'm producing.
I don't know if we'll ever, on an individual level, produce more than you consume.
No, well,
is that possible at all?
No, but it's the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, in the olden days, it probably would have been possible if you're like in a village and you could become the chief. You're kind of the one that, like, it has the most impact on the production of different things. Like,
right.
But yeah, like what Steve Jobs is, one of his famous quotes is like, I am writing on a piece of paper I did not make, with a pen that I did not make, in a language that I did not conceive the words of, and all of that. And then it's like sent from an iPad or something like that. I think it was like an email or something like that. I don't know what exactly, but you get the idea. And it's like, even him, he is like using the fruits of so many different people's labors, but he also did have a big impact on the production of new technologies. But I mean, in the sense that, like, right now, as I'm going through life, it feels like I am consuming so much more than I am able to produce. And so I want to take up more things that I can produce for other, like, just in general. And it's, I don't know if that's where, like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but like I had a flashback to the selfish, unselfish thing again, where it's like, I'm trying to be selfless by producing for other people, but at the same time, that's being selfish because I feel bad for not producing, and I would feel good for producing. So therefore, I'm being both selfless and selfish, where I want more good chemicals by providing more for other people.
Right.
And I feel like that's a good
place to be.
Outlook to have, but
balanced and reasonable.
yeah, balanced and reasonable. Nobody ever.
No, let's bring it back, man.
Literally no.
Balanced and reasonable again.
Again.
Yes,
that's the thing. That it's like there has never been anything truly good. No, that's not true, but let's cross to this street. Yeah. Life's strange. What do you think consciousness is? Let's get right into it.
Head first dive. Head first with no arm.
Consciousness. I don't know.
That's the podcast. That is the true answer.
You know, along with balanced and reasonable, we need to stop being afraid to say I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Too many people are so confident in knowing everything.
That's true. But my favorite answer is I don't know, but let me spit some shit that I think might be true.
That's fair. I mean, okay, you want to talk about consciousness? Let's talk about religion.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's one of the three main things that, if I were to rationalize religion in my own life, there's an aspect of large, significant portion of the universe, the way it operates, the way we operate, that is completely unknown to science still. And until that is more completely known, any explanation is as rational as any other, in my eyes. If you want to talk about consciousness as being some sort of...
It's when the aliens came down, they implanted it.
Yes, in a volcano somewhere, and then... Is that Scientology or something? No, but if you want to talk about it as a spiritual being that exists from, I don't know, some higher order being from God. We are his son or whatever.
So you're saying consciousness is like one of the big 3 reasons that you are inclined towards religion?
Okay, so the three that I always kind of I've rationalized in my head. So for context, I'm Eastern Orthodox. I'm very Romanian. I've grown up very inclined towards religion, especially at a younger age. I think over time, as my parents have lived in Canada longer, we've kind of stopped making it as big a part of life as it was when we first came here. But I would go to church when I was younger. I would go to Saturday Romanian school. Was always kind of integrated with church. We still celebrate all the kind of holidays in like some sort of religious level. But I think so. The 3 main things that I kind of rationalize in my modern perspective of how I treat religion, my own life in Orthodoxy, I view it primarily as an aspect of culture, as somewhat, if you pick and choose properly, a way that you can morally justify the way you conduct your life and lessons that you can derive from it. And then an explanation for the things we literally don't know about. And that's where consciousness comes from. I don't know. No one's ever really come close to, at this point, explaining what consciousness is, explaining how the universe is started. At every edge of the big scientific fields. I don't know. If you want an explanation and you need it now, that makes you feel better, and in the objective world of the scientific method we haven't come to a conclusion yet, that's fair. You can think of it as a divine power that created everything at some point, or has given you the ability to perceive and have life and all that. Sure. But yeah, the main thing for me with religion still is I view it less as an independent thing in my life and more as very intertwined with my Romanian culture. And I don't know, every Romanian like celebration that you have on Christmas, Easter, or whatever, saint days, they're always kind of intertwined with religion, and they're based in that, but I don't really think of it as a religious thing. I just kind of go about it, and it's a big part of, I don't know, having a community that kind of has grown up with kind of doing the same things, having traditions it's kind of cool having traditions that not everyone does. That's what culture feels cool.
Yeah.
You have your own in-group that feels unique and you feel a part of.
And you can immediately ostracize anyone that's not in the group and justify their genocide. You Protestant? Yeah.
You Protestant.
Yeah.
Or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I don't know, this one's the one I'm more iffy about is there's so much, I don't know, I've heard so many times the argument when it comes to philosophical debates that include religion that you can't what's the word? You can't there's a D word somewhere there.
Divination?
You can't derive, you can't derive like morality without religion. The fuck? Yeah, you can. I don't know. I know so many like people who have never even in any way been religious, involved in any religious being, that you can say that at some point some sort of Western society created moral rules or arguments that were in some sort of Abrahamic textbook, but I don't think that that's very clearly defined, and that's not necessarily the case across all society that seems for the most part to follow similar laws of no killing your own or no blah 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 for the most part.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's so much there that we could touch on. That's a really cool take though, because like piss off everybody with that, because you'll piss off the hyper religious by saying it's more cultural than spiritual and individual.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people who are very religious who will be like, your relationship is between you, the Bible, and God. Like it's a purely individual, like spiritual journey thing. And then there's people that would be on the atheist side where it's like, but what about the miracles, bro? How's it possible that a virgin gives birth, bro? Like there's all of like,
I don't know.
It's
I think I view on the aspect of that pillar of morality and lessons that you can derive, I'll say from the Bible, because that's in my own experience.
Yeah.
Sure there are some, the ones you hear when you go to church at a sermon, or whatever, like the main good versus evil, do good in your life, respect people, XYZ. There's literally also slavery and bad stuff in different religious textbooks, not just the Bible. I don't know. I think the whole idea is that there's so many sects of religion, especially Christianity, because that whole idea is people interpret the same text differently, or people give credence to different texts that others do not, or different stories in the past. So if we have that flexibility of there's even sects of the same religion and everything is interpretable differently, nothing is binary. I think it's respectable if you want to use your religion as something that guides you in the way you conduct yourself and the lessons that you take and then apply to the world. Fair, but it's always pick and choose and nothing's
Yeah. What do you think about
100% take it? You know?
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you think about all of the religions that, like, part of the religion itself is that this is the one true religion? Like, most religions say they're the one true religion.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. I absolutely respect anyone who makes religion a big part of their life. I think that's actually a quick tangent on that, is I think that's one of the main things that Western medicine has often lacked in an appreciation for and an importance for. And I think Canada is specifically one of the ones that starts teaching you, at this point, we're making more strides in talking about Indigenous health is one example.
Okay, I thought you were talking about that. That's the only avenue Canada's going to. Let's get some Indigenous medicines out here.
A big part of Indigenous health, and the thing that you learn about when you learn about how they treat healthcare, is spirituality is a big part of it. Spirituality, and to me, because I combine spirituality with culture, I think in medicine, spirituality and culture are very set aside in terms of one's own well-being and what one interprets one's well-being as being. That was a tongue twister. And I think medicine could evolve better to appreciate that and understand that and try to support that, as well as physical health and mental health and everything. And if that, so that was a bit of a tangent, but if that has to be to someone who is very into their religion and the religion tells them it's the one true religion and blah blah blah, if that is on an individual level and you're not negatively impacting anyone or society or anything by believing that, I think it's duty in healthcare, because I'm again talking from my perspective, you support that, you understand that that's how they believe, and you try to, I don't know, encourage them to apply it productively or whatever.
I don't think it would be very productive to tell them, you're wrong, let me treat you now.
Absolutely, but no, not even like you're wrong. Like, try to understand how healthcare is treated in their religion, or try to integrate, I don't know, different aspects of how they've grown up treating healthcare, wives' tales, etc.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, that's also their well-being and how they interpret it is very entwined with religion, and that's
do you think
that's nothing for many people.
No, that's definitely like just. I'm not saying this is a placebo. No, yeah, I'm not saying that it is a placebo effect. I think there is like a possibility of healing coming through, like spiritual and like just called like old non-mechanistically explained things that you can do to heal whatever, however you want to call that. But the placebo effect is a non-inconsequential thing. And do you think if there is more of a unexplained mechanism, or is it just a pure hope factor that would like there are studies of like not exactly people who are hopeless versus people who are
a lot of dog.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I'm not saying like there's, what I'm asking is, do you think it's more of a hope factor for the person, or is it a mechanistically unexplained thing that when you bring spirituality and religion into medicine, you can get greater benefits?
You're gonna hate me. I don't know. No. I think.
Where does your intuition lie? I'll ask that.
My intuition lies in there, as I do believe, could be a reason for a literal mechanistic reason for your credence to your religion actually heals you in whatever religious mechanism you think it is. God literally comes down and helps you and pulls you out of a river. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the way that we can explain scientifically, and that's the religion I ascribe to, is
Science?
Not Scientology, but I don't know.
Scientology's crazy, but we can get into that later.
But as there is no defined mechanism at this point, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it could be placebo, it could be whatever. It's beneficial to do it.
Yeah.
That's what we do know. Science has told us that when you do combine those spiritual aspects in healthcare, it does lead to improvements for those people. That's good. That's all you need to know for now.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who would be like, no, you need to know the mechanism or it doesn't count. But like, there's so many things
so
that...
many, the first antibiotic, the first vaccine, we didn't know how they work.
Yeah.
What's his face? Edward Snow, is that his name? Invented the smallpox vaccine. Not like hundreds of years before we knew what viruses were, before we even knew the pathogen hypothesis of like how diseases spread. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's you don't need to know it. You need to, like, a lot of science happens because you know the effect of something without knowing how that works.
Yeah. There's also a lot of unfalsifiable claims or things that, like, there's like the beginning of the universe. It's just something you straight up can't know.
Or could we?
Oh, yeah, I guess yet, but throw a yet in there, move on. But like, yeah, there is a lot of people that just don't ascribe something to something that they can't explain mechanistically. They just ascribe it as like nonsense. But
those are the people that pet peeve me.
yeah.
You want to know my other pet peeve?
Let's hear it.
Well,
Let's get all the pet peeves out.
That question that you had about how do you deal with someone who does think that their religion is the one true religion. It's a difficult situation in that case. And yeah, that does kind of highlight my pet peeve is if you actively go against something that we know to be true through repetition of the scientific method over long periods of time from different people replicating the same findings in different fields, in different countries, in different places, and you actively go against things that we know to be true in that way, I think you're only doing that harm against society in that way.
Could you give me an example of that?
I still believe I'm Orthodox and Christian, and I know that there's a lot of stories. I think Genesis is a very, very well-known story. I don't think they are literal, and I think a lot of modern Christians don't believe that that's literal.
Yeah.
But I think there's too much, not even evidence. I have the ability, I did it in my second year bacterial antibiotic course, to go to a lab and do evolution. If you don't believe in evolution, what are you doing, right? Like,
okay, well there is arguments against evolution that like hold up in some sense. Like evolution at a local level is definitely true. That's been proven. The jump from one species to another in the time scales that we are looking at through random mutation, I don't know, I'm pretty sure some people have done the math on that and it doesn't really check out. That's like,
pretty sure?
I'm pretty sure from what I've heard. I could be listening to some...
I'll say I'm sure that that's not true.
Yes. Just pure randomness.
Yes, pure randomness. That's the whole world, is pure randomness. Chaos theory, quantum physics. I'm not gonna pretend like I know the math and facts off the top of my head, and I can't cite resources on this walk, but there's no doubt in my mind that there could be slight alterations in the way we understand evolution to happen over time scales that we haven't been able to observe. Maybe, but there's no doubt in my mind that evolution is the driving factor for how species come to be, how the world has evolved from unicellular organisms to multicellular organisms to the species that we know in different animal kingdoms and in different classifications of life. I don't know. I don't think that's even like disputable to anyone who's kind of been in science at all.
I think
That's my. That's
I don't know. I've listened to some Joe Rogan experiences that would disagree with you there.
mighty Joe Rogan.
Exactly.
I
No,
didn't
but like
think
there's
of
like,
that
do you know who the Weinsteins are? Like Eric and Brett Weinstein.
Yeah.
They disagree with you.
I know. I disagree with them.
Well, then who do I agree with?
Neo. You know it's true.
Just gaslight me into it. You literally
When you see
admitted
that
it once.
canyon, that's where you're gonna be if you don't.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
the loudest voice here.
Yeah, that's how another thing. I love science. Science has done some great things for me in my life. You know what sucks about science and research is the funding behind it. Have you heard about like the sugar studies from like the 1980s where it's like just pay some scientists to be like,
Absolutely.
the sugar's not that bad, cigarettes aren't that bad, we will all be okay.
Yeah.
And like,
No, absolutely. But that's the thing that time and again you can point to any example in science that we know about at this point. We know about the stuff with the sugar. We know about the stuff with the cigarettes. We know about the stuff with herbicides and with PFAs and well, whatever. But that's because you can point to it, and there's probably stuff that you can't point to because we don't know about it yet. But why can you point to those and ask any scientist nowadays and they disagree with the scientific consensus of that time period? It's because science is self-correcting inherently. That's the whole
it is,
point.
but it's slow at self-correcting.
Sure, it's slow at self-correcting, but it does self-correct. When was the last time the insert religious text here self-corrected?
It's true. Actually, the Catholics self-correct quite a lot. So they got their own, they can just say the Pope said it's true.
The Pope just says it.
You know, this is like very, very tangential. I've not been back here since high school.
Okay.
So the first time I ever smoked weed was under this bridge.
First time I ever smoked weed was with you.
Well,
Baseball field. That
True.
fucked me up, man.
true. That's funny. Yeah, I think the scientific method is the best we have come up with. It's like democracy, where it's like,
insert
it's
the
not-
capitalism democracy thing here.
yeah, it's not perfect, but it's the best we've come up with.
Yeah, I mean, if you inherently have a method where as many people, like it invites people to disagree with you, it invites the idea that you disprove yourself. In science, there's no experiment unless you're a paid shill and do it for the money or whatever. You're hoping that most people don't do that, in the same way you're hoping most pilots don't want to crash into a building with you. You in science, there's no experiment that's supposed to happen without you trying to prove the null hypothesis. That is, what is a null hypothesis? Is like if your hypothesis, what you think is going to happen, you have to try to prove what you don't think is going to happen. You have to try to disprove yourself. And only when you can't disprove yourself, that is when you know that that thing has something there. But one experiment isn't enough. It invites people from Japan and from Singapore and from Romania, when they're not stealing wallets, to come and redo your experiment in a different light, in a different setting, and they reenact that same finding, and then you start thinking, oh, how does this happen? Oh, this kind of looks like that thing. Maybe there's a mechanism there, and then you pair it with something else, and then as soon as you know it, you have something that you can explain, you can replicate, you can give theories as to what you expect will happen in this model, and then that actually is replicated. And nothing else comes close to that. And yeah, there's wrongdoings along the way, because
Let's start naming some drawbacks.
there's always wrongdoings, because there's fraud, and people do fraud, and it's bad. But it's
Bad
the only
fraud.
method- it's the only method that has been able to rectify itself from those wrongdoings. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something I haven't thought about ever, but like, what like methodologies other than experimentation and replication did people use to try to figure out that they were right? Like, what other methods other than the scientific method can you use to like show that you're right? I don't know what I mean. Like,
Well,
it's like we both have never lived in a world without the scientific method.
Right.
If the
we
world
do it
did not
inherently.
have scientific method, what would they use?
Nothing, because it's just it's a structured, written down version of what our brains do when you walk outside. You are constantly, from the day you're born, doing the scientific method in your head. You think you're gonna place your foot here, oh, it's actually placed there, and your neurons rewire in a way where over time you learn how to walk. And that is the true way that you walk. It is like, it's just a written down version that we can communicate with each other about, but it's a fundamental thing your brain does. It's learning.
Yeah.
It's making an observation, writing it down into the model of what you have around, of the world around you, and then when you can make a prediction of that world and it holds true, that's how you know it's closer to the truth of what you observe.
Do you think there's any way to accelerate the scientific method for society?
I don't think it's in our interest to do that. I think that's TikTok talking.
I think there's a great acceleration since like the 1980s, though.
Sure,
everything's acceleration. So you want to accelerate it even further.
I know,
or do you think it'll just naturally accelerate, or is it a Z curve?
I hope it doesn't accelerate, because that's when those mistakes and fraud happen. I think fast-paced movement without the proper safeguards, like what's happening with AI, for example, that's like, would be good. You know, it's cool. Look at this cool thing. But that's when mistakes happen. That's when you have only a finite number of people who know what they're talking about, have the resources to do certain things, and that's when it's easier to pay somebody off or a group of people off, or encourage them to make certain findings or to develop certain things that aren't in the interest of society as a whole.
I think this is where the selfishness thing can come to, like, where selfishness may not be a good thing, where it's human incentives. When you are incentivized to use the scientific method for your personal gain, like say you do a study, doesn't come out to be what you want it to be, throw it in the trash, let's try this again.
I know.
And
it's hard because you put a lot of work and money into it.
Yeah, and like if you don't get it right, you can miss out on funding. People will think you're a bad scientist. People are heavily heavily inclined to nudge their findings to be appear as if they were true without actually being true.
That's completely fair.
No bueno.
I will say, because I've seen it happen in labs I've been a part of, is you are also incentivized to disprove a recent new finding, kind of thing. There is funding that's out there. A lot of it's true. It's like you always get more prestige and more funding for making a new finding. Mm-hmm. There is also funding for disproving new findings. Mm-hmm. There's still like avenues that encourage, okay, this lab in Tokyo found a new thing happens when you shoot a proton at a Owen.
Yep.
Let's get another Owen in Oakville and shoot a proton at him.
See what happens.
That's not wrong, it's wrong.
Hit me.
Yeah. Bad experiment I made up. But yeah, I don't know. That's my one extreme view.
Your one extreme view?
I'm all for balance and perspective, and I'm all for respecting.
Well, it's not. I think you can technically be a centrist and an extremist at the same time, using one extreme view on this side, one extreme view on this side, average them out.
Right? See, that's why I don't think that's the correct term of centrist.
So centrist is somewhere in. It's on a spectrum somewhere between being an extremist on two sides and having no opinion whatsoever. Somewhere between. I think all three of
the nail on the head.
All three of those are technically true, though. We gotta make up different words now. We gotta say there's a word for this type of centrist, a word for this type of centrist, and a word for this type of centrist. A centrist extremist, a centrist retard, and a centrist reasonable.
You got it, Owen. You write that down.
I'm gonna put that in a blog post. I'm gonna put that in the dictionary now. It's gonna catch on, man. Yeah. The different types of centralisms.
See, okay, you ask about how you reconcile the scientific method when it comes to combining that with human needs to prove themselves, or for like selfishness in that case.
Yeah.
It's losing your funding or losing your
well, whatever's important to you, if it's prestige, if it's money, if it's whatever.
I think the only way you make strides in that regard is
religion.
It needs to be a societal level, like appreciation and understanding that science is the true and one deity. Because if every single person in the world is not arguing about things that we absolutely know to be true, then you fundamentally understand the importance of science and true findings and not skewing things and blah blah blah. And it's like as true as walking down a sidewalk, and everyone knows that.
Well, truth is a interesting term because technically science is never truly true. It's always a probability that you're right is in the 99th percentile.
That's very true. Or are you?
Exactly. Or are you?
I know. You're right. Everything's within probabilities and
nothing's binary.
Nothing is binary. Dude, you gotta name this episode.
I'm naming it Nothing's Binary. That's the name. That's hilarious.
So many themes are developed.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Nothing is Binary podcast. What's the closest thing that you can think of to a binary? I'd probably say a transistor. Pretty binary to me.
That's pretty. You know, I was drinking my coffee late for this podcast in the morning, watching that. It was like a week ago. Marquez Brownlee's we made like a video of going down to the level of the new M5 chip in the smallest transistor.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting, especially after watching that testing one, so how they made them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say transistors are
pretty close to
pretty
binary.
or are they?
Or are they?
Or are they? Oh man.
Yeah.
That's cool. When was the last time you went inside it?
When we graduated, like in grade 12.
Grade 12, right?
Have you been in it since?
I think I went. Yeah, I did. I went in my
with a
first
shotgun,
semester.
but then you turned around.
Yeah, it was when I grew my hair out. No, I went inside, I think in my first semester, because I came back to say hi to the old Mun people. And I left the club too, but that was fun.
Yeah, you left the club too.
I like
big runner, big president.
I'm saying as if there weren't other like 4 people running the club with me. No, that was fun. I like this school. I was sad when my sister didn't go to this school. I wanted an excuse to go back, but
that's funny. Isn't there like plays that you can just go watch? Is there reasons to go back into the school that exists?
I don't know, maybe. I was actually thinking about that like yesterday with at my old elementary school. My grandfather, who's now passed, he was visiting us in the summer when I was in like grade 5 or something, and all he did that summer was in the basement. He would paint. We just got him canvases and paint, and he made like 100 works that are like spread across our family friends, and we have a bunch in the basement just lying around because we don't know where to put them.
Yeah.
He really liked art, and he just decided to paint a bunch that summer. And one of them, he painted a coyote, which was the mascot of my elementary school.
Okay.
And we gave it to them, and that was when I was in grade. I think it was grade 5 or something. I was in elementary school. My sister was not even like, in school at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my sister's graduation from Forest Trail in grade 8, which is
Doxed.
it would have been years later, it was still there in that same display case.
Really?
It was so cool.
I wonder if it's still there.
This is the coolest thing. Like my grandpa just like painted this, and now like my sister's gone. We'll never have a reason
Probably
to
where
go
your
there.
thought came, where it's like,
yeah,
someone planted that tree there.
That, yeah.
So someone would drive by this street and say, I planted that. I put that brick in that brick house.
Literally.
I installed that garage door.
Yeah, like being someone who's involved in physical infrastructure, like an engineer or a tradesperson or anything, it'd be so like how you did with me when we were in the car together.
Yeah.
It's so cool to think you can just like drive down and like I did that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It is pretty neat to be like, even still, like I worked landscaping, like landscape construction one summer, and like I can still remember all those old houses, and if I drove by, I just walked into a tree. Like if I drove by,
podcast 3D.
Yeah, for real.
Put your 3D glasses on.
This is a yeah, put them in the IMAX, the moving seats and stuff. Yeah, no, fuck, what was I just talking about? Oh yeah, if I was like dude, I'm telling you, my attention span is cooked.
Dude.
If I like drove by a house that I worked on, I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool, I did that. I remember doing that, and it's a useless thought technically, but it's a cool thought.
No, it's a really cool thought. It feels accomplishing. It feels you're allowed to feel your selfish happy chemicals, because that's how you go on to contribute to society.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about the amount of like cool but useless things that there are in life.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool but useless. It's another good podcast name.
Cool but useless. Run by Owen.
Yeah.
The cool but useless. Okay. No, imagine just so much of the. Another cool thought is like how much of the world you just don't even observe because you see it all the time. It's in the same state all the time. And you never thought of it being in a different state. But why is snow white? Imagine.
Let me tell you.
Imagine snow was literally just red. For whatever, make whatever most minimal change to physics, to physical properties that you need to do to make snow red. And like it's just red, and then you're used to it.
Yeah, that's also like the idea of like, how do we know we see colors the same? How do you know like my orange is the same as your orange?
That's very true.
And all that type of, but yeah, it is amazing how much your brain is optimized for noticing the least amount, like the most but least amount of things
just
that you can.
The difference. Yeah, I think it's Weber's law. Funnily enough, I think there was an experiment with non-human primates once. I think, I could be wrong about this, but I think they have a lower threshold for noticing differences. So like you'd give a pile of 50 bananas and 49 bananas and they'd actually notice it where a human wouldn't. Something like that. I don't know. It's very interesting how our closest relatives, because evolution is the one true deity.
Yeah, tell me how the human brain doubled in size in an unprecedented amount of time.
Dude, I watched it happen.
Yeah,
I watched it happen just before my coffee chat with Alfred Nobel.
Exactly. Dude, one of the most interesting things to me is that as much as humans all have a different experience, we all experience the same time scales. Like no one can, until we invented the camera where you can slow things down and speed things up, everyone experienced things on the same time scale. And like so much is unknown because of both the size scale and time scale that you can like look at things. I thought the most coolest thing I've seen, I think the coolest thing I have seen in the last 2 weeks, probably longer, was I watched a video where someone in their garage made a camera that shoots at 2 billion frames per second, and you can see light move through the garage. I'm like,
is that true though?
Yes. It's
okay, is it photons or is it one of those like you see it in a tube and it's like vaporizing?
No. It's straight up like how he does it is with time to butcher some
photon though.
Time to butcher some science.
Yeah.
He's in his garage.
Okay.
He's got it completely blacked out.
Okay.
There's a laser shot on an incline with a mirror above it and a mirror across over there on the other side. Light shoots, hits mirror, hits mirror, hits mirror, hits mirror. Like so, it's like there's a little bit of things, and he is recording down to the like either nano or picoseconds.
What?
Because he basically shot it with the way he recorded it is 1 pixel at a time, and then you do like thousands of pixels at the same time. But like the camera shoots takes one. I'm gonna butcher this, but like I watched the light move, and I'm like 99% sure it's not an animation or AI. But it is. But I'll send you the video because like it is straight up the coolest thing ever that you can literally see the light move. And you know what's the craziest part? He took the camera and had the thing perpendicular to it, and like goes boom, 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 boom. He took the camera and say the boom, boom happens here. He moves it to one side, like next to it, and like goes like this. It goes boop, boop. What? Because
you see it from a different perspective.
Because yeah, the relative
you observe it going away from you.
And
that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's like
what
stuff like that is just like, for me, useless but cool. For a lot of other people, it's probably useful. But like, that's
everything's useless until it's not. You know how many useless back to that PCR thing, man. Some guy found a bacteria in like Yosemite or something, in some geyser, living in incredible temperatures. It was some microorganism that we never knew microorganisms were able to live in that hot a temperature. We never found anything like that. They named it Thermus aquaticus or something, because they found it in a geyser.
Thank
Right, in a hot
God
geyser.
we love Latin.
Yeah, and they call it TAC, T-A-Q. And someone put it in a box somewhere because they're like, yeah, this is kind of cool, but like, okay, it's a bacteria that lives in a geyser. Okay, like who gives a fuck? And then later on, in that research for the PCR machine, trying to find an efficient method to replicate DNA to a quantifiable amount that you can actually use, they needed something that a factor of for a protein, a polymerase, which is involved in reproducing DNA, that would be able to survive big changes in temperature scales without
Sure, where would they need that for?
For the PCR machine. So the PCR machine is involved in replicating DNA so that you can use it quantifiably. Because if you just take one cell and its DNA, you physically can't use just one strand of DNA to actually do experiments with. You need an amount that you can actually observe in different electrophoresis experiments or whatever. And they in part of that, developing that machine, the way the PCR works is it cycles very quickly between different temperatures, where it's very, very accurate temperatures where at some point DNA splits apart and is able to reproduce, and then comes back together, and it's basically very sequential. There's like 3 or 4 steps. I forget exactly what temperatures they're at, but they needed something. They needed a polymerase enzyme that is what's responsible for replicating a strand of DNA at each of those cycles that wouldn't denature at that temperature. So they needed basically a temperature where the DNA denatures, but not the polymerase enzyme itself. And they were like, holy shit, there's TAC polymerase is what it's called, TAQ polymerase. And it's used in every PCR machine ever now, because they found this one microorganism in some geyser. Some guy was like, yeah, this is kind of cool, but then put it in a box somewhere, and had no idea that it would be used so extensively in every scientific experiment involving DNA, basically, in the COVID-19 tests and everything. It's so cool.
You mean the Chinese virus?
It's from China. Did you hear about last night?
What happened last night?
Venezuela?
What?
We're recording this, what is it, January 4th in the morning. So I know about what happened last night through like TikTok, but they haven't made an official press conference yet, I don't think. You know about the whole buildup of the
Venezuela? I knew there was like, they were like, there's gonna be a war, there's not gonna be a war, there's gonna be a war, there's not gonna be. And then they've been blowing up some ships. They were like, bomb dropped.
So last night, I think I was waiting, I think we were watching Die Hard into the night. It was like midnight or so, because my sister went skiing and we were waiting for her to come home. And my dad was like, oh, something, buildup of military presence, and like, we're going to war somewhere.
Building it up. They've been like throwing destroyers in the
explosions and shit, whatever, at midnight. And then I didn't really look into it when he said that, and I went to sleep. And
is there a land invasion?
So there were bombs over Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. There were like explosions and blah blah blah. And then I think Pam Bondi, the attorney general or whatever, makes an announcement that we have captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and we're bringing him back to.
Is that the president?
To the USA, yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy, dude. And I assume they haven't, because this is before any official press conference or anything, but I'm assuming that was like a shock and awe kind of, they didn't really invade. It was like a special forces.
That's a smart thing to do.
Sure.
Let's not do a land invasion. They've learned their lesson like how many different times by invading countries?
Right, they had to do an assault over.
Couldn't do that to Cuba though. Have you heard about?
Don't care enough about Cuba. Cuba doesn't have oil.
Have you heard about all the different things they tried to do to Fidel Castro, like the CIA, all of those things?
Yeah.
They tried to like turn him gay so that people would turn him against him through like drugs.
I've heard about that.
Like, that's crazy. But
and he just died peacefully in his bed at an old age and nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I guess it's an interesting thought experiment. I don't think it's as controversial because people in Venezuela don't like him, people around the world don't like him, Russia doesn't like him, China doesn't like him, America
really
doesn't like him. I don't think anyone likes or really cares for Nicolas Maduro. So I don't think that's the reason.
Why'd they capture his wife?
I don't know. I have no idea. But that's like, it's an interesting. It's almost inconsequential in the way. I don't think it's that controversial, and I feel like it's almost easy political points for the Orange Man.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that are on the opposition to him, being like, kidnappings are wrong.
That's exactly what it is, though. who made America the world police or whatever. They're not part. See, that's the thing. I was very interested. I learned this right before I left your house. It was like, the things that they're charging him on aren't international crimes, aren't rigging the election. They're not blah blah blah. It's drug war crime.
Well, he labeled like drug crimes as like terroristic things.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure
Do you know where all the cocaine in America comes from? I'll tell you, it's not Venezuela.
No, it's the fentanyl.
It's next door. It's not the fentanyl. Fentanyl comes from China and like Mexico.
Yeah, but then it goes to Venezuela, allegedly.
I don't know. I think like.
Okay, well, what drug crimes is he accusing them of?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not saying they're fabricated. They could be very well real or whatever. I think they're insignificant to what he actually represents them.
It's like we wanted him to fall, so we. It's like that thing in Russia where it's like, you show me the person, I'll show you the crime.
Right.
Where it's like we wanted him to have a crime, so we can heavily scrutinize him. Oh, we got this one certain thing.
Right.
We can make our move.
But that's the thing. It's like, is that really the crime that, like, it's not, it doesn't, Venezuela does not represent the vast majority of where cocaine comes from, where most drugs get going to the United States come from, where fentanyl comes from. It just doesn't.
Is it not in the supply chain at all? Like, I feel like it was, from my understanding, which is very minimal, it's somewhere on the, like, I've seen like documentaries where people will go into like the deep jungle where they make the cocaine with like the, remember my thing in high school where I did the cocaine?
Remember that.
I remember watching a documentary of cocaine being made in Venezuela.
Was it Venezuela though?
Yeah,
I thought it was cocaine. I thought it was Colombia. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure it's conflated.
I'm pretty sure they're
with
both like kind of the same thing.
It's anyway. Regardless, Nicolas Maduro's main crime isn't fucking cocaine. It's being a despot, being like kicking out thousands, millions, and causing a humanitarian crisis on the border of Colombia. It's assassinations of his political opponents.
I feel like that's against international law.
Absolutely. You know what America doesn't represent? International law. They're not part of the ICC. They're not part of anything. And so if they were, say they were part of the ICC, that would give me like, okay, they just went and executed an arrest warrant on behalf of the world. No one likes him, and they're part of the international court, and the international court, I think they do have an arrest warrant for him or whatever, but he just doesn't visit it.
Doesn't like everyone have an arrest warrant at this point? The international.
I don't know about that, but sure. But America's not part of that, and they very vehemently oppose that. It's bipartisan that America doesn't like the ICC and doesn't represent it or whatever. But that's the reason that they're not charging him on something that's related to politics, related to humanitarian crises, related to assassinations, anything. It's on some kind of drug thing that
I'm pretty sure that's how they justified it to the Americans though, is that there's a major drug crisis in America.
Right.
And they were like, that guy. And so that's what like.
You mean the ICC justified it?
No, I'm saying America justifies it to their own people.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean, though. That like the thing that they're charging him on is far from like the big issue that actually that Nicolas Maduro is guilty of. But it's just kind of funny. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's semantics, and I really doubt the backlash from this is going to be very big because it's kind of bipartisan that everyone.
It's also better than him just blowing up random ships.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's what they were doing before
Absolutely.
They kidnapped him.
Yeah. And I saw a little thing, I don't know how true it is, about apparently the military really didn't counteract anything at all. And it kind of sounds like maybe they had a deal in place with the military of Venezuela beforehand so that they kind of get scot-free and like sort of detach themselves from association with the president.
That's probably a smart thing to do for them.
Smart. I don't know how true that is though.
I mean, I would, like, as much as I don't want to talk shit about covert operations of the Americans.
You don't want to? You afraid you're going to be a victim of it or what?
Like, I don't think they are capable without like making those special deals. Like, like everyone needs allies, and I feel like they definitely.
Yeah. You need people to tell you where things are and to turn the blind eye and whatever.
Actually, I don't even know what point I was making. That's definitely the smart thing to do, and definitely what they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy though. That's like I feel like we were born after 9/11 and we were too young and too Canadian to care about the Iraq and Afghanistan shit.
Completely, yeah.
Like these last few years is like our first time actually like seeing war. International war. And I mean, it's a pretty big time for war. We got Ukraine, we got Israel, we got Venezuela, we got Sudan's. Are they still after it?
Well, it's not the Sudan's, it's a civil war, but yeah.
Oh.
Sudan. Yeah. The Thai-Cambodian conflict.
China, Taiwan. We got, are the Australians doing anything? Probably not. They're a bunch of pussies. What else we got?
We got to add Australian pussies in there.
We got, where's that one in Africa that's going on? They're like killing a bunch of Christians. Nigeria.
Oh.
There's a war in Nigeria that like is starting to kick off. Probably like Angola and Mozambique probably still got some shit going on. I don't really hear about that one too much. I feel like the world cares so much less about African wars than all of the other wars.
Very true.
I always think that's kind of funny. Like, the one thing that I like really don't like about like mainstream media, as in like TV shows that are just news, is the fact that they just like press on the same issues. Because like I feel like a corporation is the most susceptible to audience capture, where it's you show your audience a bunch of things, your audience gives ratings by what they're watching, and so you are inclined to favor the things that, because it's a corporation, the whole point is get the most amount of eyes on it. If it's a person, your whole point is follow your interests, follow your inclinations, and it's different motives, and the incentive to show people what they want to see pisses me off. That's one of my pet peeves. It's just like
that's fair.
Looping of what you want to see and what you want to hear, instead of like other fringe things that, yeah, you probably won't care about it, but like, what if you do?
So you sound pretty anti-big media corp.
I am pretty anti-big media corp.
Would you say that they're very, very much more susceptible to that line of biased takes and feeding people what they want, compared to like a Joe Rogan type of thing, which is a huge more what is it, like 10 times more people get their news from Joe Rogan than Fox now?
Probably
something like that. Would you say that
I'm a victim of it?
That's right, whatever. But would you say that there are individuals who market themselves as individuals, they come across to your screen as individuals that have way more eyeballs on them? Do you think that they're not also susceptible to that type of...
I think they are, but it's when, because if all of the people at a news network were, so Joe Rogan, at the bare minimum, produces at least 9 hours of content a week.
Okay.
And that's just him and another guest, or a few other guests. And he's been doing that for 15 years. I feel like someone like that has made all of their mistakes that they're going to make publicly. It's pretty hard to keep a mask on for thousands of hours over several years. So you get the sense that you know someone a lot more when you have that much exposure. And I know his bias, like, no, I don't like know them, but I have an intuition of what his biases are, of like the inclination that he leans towards. He's very conspiratorial because the CNN fucking lied to him and did a smear campaign on him for months. He's got a personal, like, he's got personal ties, and so I can see things from that perspective, because he was literally they changed the color of his face and put him on the news. I think that's the craziest thing ever. The news just lied about you. And if he was someone that trusted the mainstream news and whatever, he certainly isn't going to be anymore. And the fact that you can see news networks doing that and their checks and balances, going back to that speed thing, where in science, because it moves slower, you can catch those things quicker. In the news, everything moves fast. Right. So no one caught that. And then now I'm looking at the news and I'm being like, what are they missing? Because like, it always feels like they're moving too fast and they're not going to catch everything, and they're going to let things slip through the cracks. When I'm watching an individual, I can hear their perspective, and I've got a much larger sense of their biases and their like their leanings, of like what they already believe in, and is this person just agreeing with them, or is this person bringing a different perspective to him, and how does he respond to that? So it's like,
Right.
you have that individual understanding a lot more than someone coming and sitting at a desk and saying, this is the news and this is this and this. And I'm like, why are you saying this to me? What do you actually believe? And what do you believe about other things? If I, like, there's things, of course, that I would disagree with Joe Rogan about. There's things of which that I agree with him about. But because I've got the understanding of him more as a person, I can trust what he's saying, because for 15 years, he's been saying what he actually thinks. He may be wrong,
Right.
but at least he's trying to be right. And like,
Okay.
I feel like that a lot of the news, the news comes from people who are saying what they're told to say, not saying what they think is right.
That's interesting.
That's my perspective on it, at least.
That's interesting.
Because do you think that, because like in an area where there's there's the other school of thought that I can think of is when there are so many people working on something, the all of the kind of fringe shit. Oh, there's a woodpecker.
Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's a baby. It's so fluffy.
Bro does not want to get seen.
It's so pretty.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. What a good spot. Peck it. Peck it.
Bro does not want to give us a peck. Where's he? He's freaking hiding from
Owen
us.
does stare at little peckers.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, when there's a group together and like everyone has their own fringe things,
Yeah.
they kind of like, the overlapping stuff is what gets through, not like the fringe stuff that are like more individual biases. Is that kind of like, I can see how that perspective would come about, but because there's a hierarchy, that's not always true, because the individual at the top that's not even on necessarily the screen has much more say about what you are or are not allowed to talk about at the end of the day.
But wouldn't...
And just the unknowns behind that puts more pause in my mind than an individual where I can kind of see their inherent biases a lot more.
But wouldn't you say that when you watch CNN, you know their inherent biases as much as you do? You don't know that?
I don't think so. I think because also there's like...
Because, okay, so your kind of implication is that there's people that you don't know about that run the show at the top, in that case, in the corporate
Yes.
realm.
That's one of the things, yeah.
But yeah, in Joe Rogan's case, it's not necessarily the case. There's no one behind him, but it's kind of just like that guy that would have been at the top being in your face.
Exactly.
But what's the difference?
What's the difference is you can see it there, like you can...
But like, what do you see his face? Like, how is seeing his face and he like help you in any way?
Because
This
you
stuff is-
hear the biases out of his own mouth.
Okay.
If there's some other like mysterious figure at the head of
This reminds
whatever
me.
you're...
So cute.
Yeah. It's awesome. Just a nice...
Sounds like such a fun winter
Yeah.
weekend.
Like when biases are like more in your face,
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to put a label on it than mysterious biases where not only like Joe Rogan only like has on guests that he's interested in talking to. That's his claim to making a successful show, is have people on that you're excited to talk to. And so that has its own sort of version of, he's not going to talk about topics that he doesn't care about. And the news also does that.
Okay.
But he's a lot more clear about what he's not wanting, like not talking about. The news is like, I don't know if the news isn't talking about the Nigerian issues because they don't think people will want to watch it, or because the person at the top doesn't want you to hear it. Like, there's much more
So you're okay.
malicious. I feel like there's a lot more room for malicious omissions in a news network than in a individual.
I don't know how true that is. Like, I think it's just the same. Like, I think the only difference is that you see Joe Rogan's face, and therefore you can be accusatory to the person that you know this is coming from, as opposed to
Exactly.
but
And so
how
if
does
he
that
did
change
something
anything?
wrong, or if he makes...
That's the thing. He does do things wrong, and it doesn't change anything. Like, people get the news from him as much as he could. Okay, you can on paper say he has people who he finds interesting, and you can disagree with it. Like, you can, on a personal level, know his biases and know when to disagree with him because he's being conspiratorial, which is incredibly often nowadays. I used to watch Joe Rogan a lot too, and I liked him, and I don't know, maybe like, I don't know, my world view has changed since that point. I just don't watch like podcasts like that anymore in general. But people get the news from, like, get the news. This is like what's happening in the world.
I think that's just because of a lack of trust in the actual quote-unquote news. And so
fair, but that he is the actual quote-unquote news.
no, he never claims to be people, just because people use him as the news.
Right, but isn't that like a happy omission itself? Isn't that like a, he kind of like, he knows that's happening, bro, and his statistics shows that.
Yeah, but what's he gonna do? Say like just stop recording podcasts because people are listening to him?
Absolutely not. But I think as much as there's quote-unquote shadowy figures in a corporate realm that go for profits and show you what you want to see, he has, like, in that corporate realm, there are still, you have to follow journalistic laws, journalistic integrity. As much as there's bias and stuff, as much as there can be lies and have been lies in varying amounts from different corporations and stuff, there are still multiple people in that group. There are still multiple perspectives, as much as it's controlled from the top. And there are still there are bodies in the United States that are concerned with upholding journalistic integrity that doesn't apply to a podcast.
Yeah, but nobody trusts them now. They relinquished that trust during the last 5 years.
That's completely fair. But that's the problem, I think, is like the fact that the people don't trust the corporations, but their trust then goes to an individual who has absolutely no checks and balances.
Yeah, but like, if you think about it at a human level, people love having something to cling on to. That's what we've also been talking about.
Okay.
They love having something that they can listen to, that they can glean understanding of the world from.
Right.
And when you break someone's trust, it's a lot easier to break someone's trust than it is to gain it back. And like, this is the same reason that Donald Trump got elected, is because he may be wrong, he may be stupid about a lot of things.
Right.
But people can see him for him.
Everyone hated the Democrats more than they liked
exactly.
him.
and like, the people who like really love him, because it's like, do you think the people that like Trump, like, I feel like a lot of people who don't like Trump, like, I don't know if they just think he's stupid or if he's like actually malicious. But like, let's go this way. Yeah, I just think, like, seeing someone face up their whole, like, reputation on display, and when they're being, like, I think when you can see someone try, like, being their true self and not hiding things from you, humans hate having things hidden from them.
Okay.
And when it's so much more in your face, you can see, like, maybe it's not true that you actually physically can see more, but you get the idea that you are able to see behind the curtain more, and you're able to, like, have more control. Like, I'm sure if Joe Rogan just, like, started saying, like, what Kanye's saying, people would stop listening to him. I don't think they would.
You really think that?
I really think that.
Really?
I don't think that.
I don't think he's that far off. He's okay. He's very smart and strategic, and I'm not saying in like a malicious way, but he's like very.
Joe Rogan or Trump?
He's very Joe Rogan. He's very safe in the sense that he doesn't have to necessarily say things. He just lets his guests do it.
Yeah.
And that's fair, but you're the one giving them the platform with your platform, and I don't think that that's as far off as CNN not having their anchors say something, but their guests say that thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's. I don't know, dude. I sound like I'm advocating for CNN. I fucking hate corporations and in media and whatever. I'm just saying that's not. It doesn't seem to me as that far off.
You know what they got to do? They got to figure out a scientific method for the media. You got to bring that to them.
Dude, YouTube Veritasium. That is the scientific method. Have a team of researchers who are passionate about going to interview people in place, doing a bunch of research beforehand. That's it.
See, that's the thing too. Like, I don't know, like, the one thing that we can't see behind is, like, how he actually picks and schedules his guests, because I would imagine a lot of people would want to come on his show and he says no to like a lot of people. But like I think it's wrong to put the blame on him for having made arguably the best platform for media ever, because he's got the most listeners than anyone else.
Right.
So clearly, like,
he's done something right in the sense of, in the same way corporations seek profits and views, he does the same thing, just on a like,
I don't think he seeks out the profits though. I think he is just the best at doing it.
That's fair, but I mean, he's also an individual who probably wants money. Like you'd kind of assume that too. Like, I don't think you can remove his own personal desire for money in the same way you can't do that for.
Well, I don't think his desire is for money though, because he has, for example, like, he is, from my listening to him, he is on like of the perspective of, if I'm winning, we're all winning. Like, I can bring other people up with me. For example, he's a comedian first. That's his first proclaimed profession, is comedian. So when he got a lot of money, what did he do? He made a comedy club that seeks zero profits and just pays out the comedians that go to the club more than any other place ever. So that's like the way that speaks a lot to his character as a person. And when he does stuff like that, that's very kind of charitable. I can draw some lines as a human who can think, where this may not be true, but I draw the lines that that's something that a good person would do. That's someone that an honest person would do. So is he probably trying to be honest with? Like, for example, for people that he has on, that he doesn't even always agree with the people he has on. He doesn't disagree with them to their face necessarily all the time. One classic example, he is a big proprietor of the fact that archaeology as it stands is not a very rigorous field, and is missing a lot of key components. So he had Zahi Hawass, the like leader of pyramids in Egypt, of whatever, I don't know what the exact title is, but he had him on. He disagreed with like basically everything he had said. It was a very awkward conversation, probably his worst podcast episode ever. But he had someone he disagreed with on, and just let him speak, let him say whatever he wants. And then he said, okay, I've let them say this, now it's up to the internet to figure out if you agree with this guest that I had on or not.
But do you really think that when you watch his podcast, he has that same level of pushback and integrity towards people who maybe have more conspiratorial claims that aren't part of the main thought? Like, sure, that guy probably represents the mainstream scientific archaeological perspective.
Yes.
Do you think he has that same thing when he invites, I forget his name, but like guys who like actually just are proponents of the pyramids were built by aliens, but like don't kind of really show anything, or don't really have any, I don't know, objective title that shows that they have studied this rigorously or whatever, or have any evidence that they show on that podcast? I see what you mean about like, he's very good at what he's done, and it's not necessarily that he actively seeks for a profit motive, that he gains those views and whatever, and he does it because he believes in it. He is therefore very good at getting people to listen to him because he feels very personable, he feels more connected. Like, wow, that is a cool ring too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure an ex-NHL player lives here.
Who?
He was a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Yeah.
I forget what his name is. My parents
That's so cool.
would always say it, but yeah, like
okay, so I get that, but at the end of the day, it is, if you have that platform, and you've done it completely the way you wanted to do it, you're not controlled by anyone, and you're very transparent about it, it is still your responsibility to make sure that with that's just my opinion, like with a platform that you have like that, you have to maintain your integrity to trying to be reasonable or trying to show reason. So they're not necessarily used to using, they haven't gone to a post high school education, anything like that. He watches Joe Rogan. He doesn't really do any research beyond Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And
you're like describing me right now.
5 episodes in a row, that kind of, the theme of the episode is, what's wrong?
We have not been recording anything so far.
The entire podcast?
It stopped 20 seconds in. but we've got it all on the camera. But
Wait, is the camera?
the camera records audio, but it's gonna be pretty bad audio. But at least, that's crazy.
No, that's crazy.
That's like an hour and a half at least of
Oh shit.
whatever.
No. It was such an interesting conversation too.
Yeah, no, I'll still post it with the bad audio.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Oh, that sucks, man.
That's very. I keep doing this. I
okay.
feel like, you know what really sucks
Yeah.
is that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be so intentional of being like a good listener. I'm not gonna check my phone at all because I feel like I'm being rude if I'm checking my phone while we're talking at all. So I'm like, while I'm talking, I'm not gonna check my phone. I just check my phone now, and it just hasn't been recording.
Fuck.
And so I gotta stop feeling bad for checking my phone if it's like making sure stuff is running well.
We had some good stuff there too.
Oh,
okay.
well, I'm still gonna.
It's called. What was it? Fucking everything. Nothing is binary.
Nothing is binary.
See,
Nothing is
Was
binary,
it-
and nothing has good audio.
Exactly. What? Right? Was it recording? Was it not recording?
It was
kind of half recording.
It was recording, but just with bad audio. So, well, sorry to the listeners if there are any that have to listen to this GoPro audio. This GoPro audio kind of sucks.
Okay.
But
it's all good.
They have
good audio.
it'll be fine. That's
Punch
the fucking air right now.
Well, I just got a text. I got a text that I was supposed to go to Niagara today.
Okay.
But
What time
apparently
is it?
it's 11:50.
Technically,
What do you have anything to do?
I was supposed to leave to Mal's house at 12.
Shit.
Okay, let's walk home now. Let's get.
That's okay.
That's crazy. Damn, we got lost in the sauce there. We were going for like 2 straight hours
That
almost.
was so good.
Yeah, that's
Well, hopefully it's still audible. And it gives another reason to record it.
exactly. Well, yeah. Well, I think we should just do this every year.
I think so too.
This is
We love this time of year. Where
Yeah, I know. And this is a lot better than I feel like last year I was so much colder.
Yeah. It was way colder last year. This is nice. We didn't have to go inside.
Yeah. Sorry. I'll let you make your final point
Okay.
on the issue of like if it's just some random
Yes.
person who is like just listening that's like hasn't gone to any like isn't very involved in the scientific like reasoning and is just listening to Joe Rogan. Yeah, they're probably going to just take everything at face value.
But do you know?
Is that his fault?
Well, not his fault, but I think it's his responsibility to make sure that doesn't represent. Okay.
How many times could he say, do your own research before you would say, okay, that's allowed?
I think it's his responsibility to present a bit more balanced take on it.
I think he has people from different perspectives on, though.
Think so?
I think so. I think it's not purely a one-to-one relationship for how many times he has on someone from, say, this, because this is the most simple example, left and right.
Nothing can be one for one.
But I think he does have people on that, like, he has lots of guests on that disagree with other guests that he has on. Okay. So if you're following through the whole sort of story arc of everything, it kind of balances out, not exactly to the center, but like he does have a lot of extreme opinions on, yes. And they are opinions that may or may not be true, but there are opinions that are out there.
Would you say it's a fair characterization that a lot of those guests are very anti the main thinking of the establishment?
Yes, I think that's very fair because he says I believe he believes the mainstream has failed,
right?
And therefore he is there to pick up the pieces of what the mainstream. He may have misdiagnosed what the mainstream has missed.
Right.
He may believe what the mainstream has missed is the fringe opinions. So if the mainstream has failed and the mainstream also missed fringe opinions, if he has fringe opinions, that's not what the mainstream does. And so, like,
would you say that that's so purely? My issue is with that example of like random guy who doesn't necessarily spend his time learning all the time, and this is his main source of finding information. With Joe Rogan, as much as he says, do your own research or whatever, inherently by presenting people who are anti-mainstream, he's presenting what the mainstream is without having anybody represent that. Is that fair to say?
I think there is less representation, but there is still. Does a mainstream really need representation on a Joe Rogan?
Well, yes, because that's my point. I think the main person, the random person who watches a podcast, who isn't, you're a smart guy and you do your own research and you are knowledgeable about different things, watch YouTube videos and whatever, and you learn.
I mostly just listen to Joe Rogan. You
sure,
could probably
you go to university, you are an engineering degree, like you've learned how to do different critical thinking and like stepwise.
Nope, I'm a retard through and through.
Anyway, that average person, that part of the 10 times more people that watch him than mainstream news or whatever, they don't spend the time to actually learn what is the thing. Okay, you
could say, okay, let's make this hypothetical character,
right.
Someone who is, say, blue collar,
yes,
like barely struggled through high school, has absolutely zero inclination towards anything research-wise. Right. What he does is he plays video games, he goes to work, and he listens to Joe Rogan.
And he doesn't like the economy because he feels like the government has been failing him. He doesn't like his place in life. And therefore, he groups everything that seems to be the common knowledge and the quote-unquote mainstream as something bad. And then Joe Rogan presents a side of the argument that is good because it is against it. But what happens when Joe Rogan keeps on presenting those aspects that are against that quote-unquote mainstream is he's not actually presenting what the mainstream is. He's presenting someone who is against something without presenting what that something is. And that average person, that blue-collar guy that doesn't watch anything else, he doesn't actually listen to anybody who's part of the quote-unquote mainstream. And the mainstream means different things in different fields too.
Definitely.
And like it doesn't like it doesn't represent the same thing when you're doing mainstream doctors versus mainstream journalists. Yeah.
My biggest thing is, like, I think that may radicalize some people against the mainstream, but I believe that, one, if you're going to get radicalized, it's probably going to be, if not from Joe Rogan, from someone else. There's just people that have tendencies to get radicalized. Sure. Like, and there's lots of different ways to get radicalized. I think there's mainstream radicals, there's Joe Rogan radicals. Like, I feel like there's that same type of character for a boomer who just watches the news.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, like, I think in everything, there is going to be people who take it fully to heart and then therefore reject the other opinions. Same thing happens in religion. Right. Same thing happens in science. Right. Scientology. Same thing happens everywhere. I think
Scientology is not science. It's just called Scientology. Okay.
I should not have grouped those together. But I just thought that was a funny thing that people are radicalized into Scientology. Sure. People just get radicalized by different things. I don't think, Joe Rogan's perspective on having guests on is, who am I interested in? That is a pretty simple thing. There are going to be people who only listen to that and therefore get radicalized from it. But I feel like people will have that anywhere, and I do not think there's a way to have a successful show by being that careful as to only have like you can't force, like, his whole thing is you can't force you can't force me to talk to someone that I don't want to talk to. Yeah. Like, and if it's just someone that's just gonna be spouting what he thinks is bullshit at him, he's not gonna enjoy that, and he doesn't want to have that happen to him. And I think it's more responsibility on the viewer than the network. And he is being as transparent as he can possibly be in saying that I am talking to who I want to talk to. I am a comedian, not a journalist. And do your own research. And it's on the viewer to not get radicalized by what he represents, which is a lot of pressure on them, I guess. But, like, I just don't think it's the responsibility of him to, like, have people on. He doesn't, and I could say that, like, I could give that same grace to news networks. They don't want to have cringe people on because that's not what their viewers want to see. They want to have what they want to have on. Like, at the end of the day, that's what happens when media is segregated. You're going to have the people who like the news. You're going to have the people who like Joe Rogan. And they're just going to be, like, sort of divided out. Like, there's no natural way to bring those together. Like, it's just inherent, like, likes that you have in different things. I don't like the style of the news. I don't enjoy watching that style of commentary. I would prefer a long-form podcast. And so I'm only watching podcasts. What podcasts get big? People who also like watching podcasts. And people who like watching podcasts don't like watching the news. Therefore, the news is underrepresented in podcasts. You can't get someone who likes listening to podcasts to listen to the news because the news is boring to them. Like, I think this is a no-win scenario in the sense of getting media to be more balanced, letting everyone have balanced opinions. I think people who are like inclined to be radicalized are probably going to get radicalized. Like, as much as that sucks and you can try to avoid it, people get radicalized very easily and for stupid things.
Sure.
And I don't think it's on, especially like if you're a cult leader who's trying to radicalize people, it's probably not a good thing. If you're just some guy that's talking on the internet and people are just listening to you and they start listening to you like you're a god, I don't think that's your problem. I don't know, do you disagree with that kind of synopsis?
I want to believe that, yeah, there are people who are more prone to certain behaviors like radicalization. That's not a death sentence. You know? And I would like to believe that there are people who are more susceptible to being biased towards something because they have never been exposed to something else. Or they simply do not have the same propensity for critical thinking.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
A lot of
But I don't think that, I hate to think that they're automatically in some sort of death sentence because they're more inclined to radicalization, and therefore we shouldn't care about trying to put in all the rich.
Yeah, make me sound like more of a dick.
No, I mean, like, okay, I don't disagree with the idea that you have to present other perspectives. There are people who would be more radical in the sense that you cannot give platforms to radical people. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I do think that if you are going to present somebody for the purpose of saying this is an option, as crazy as it is, you have to be strong-handed enough to, if not visibly, if not like very, very obviously disagree with them, push back on them so that they develop their point to the to beyond the surface level of, oh yeah, I feel safe believing this. And I haven't viewed Joe Rogan enough to know myself how much he does that or whatever, but I get the sense that because his guests tend to be more anti-establishment and tend to be more of fringe thinking, he has a responsibility a little bit to not treat it as much as he says, yeah, I'm not a news source or whatever, I just like talking to people. In the same way we're having this, like we like talking to each other and we're a little bit disagreeing.
Yeah.
Have a little bit more of a responsibility to
push back and say that like this is probably not a good idea.
Or you have to show me something that is less so, I don't know, a lot of the content I get from Joe Rogan is clips, and he's like, wow, no way, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you can be amazed, but like, not gonna ask a question about it, or it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not educated enough on this podcast to know it.
Well, nobody is. Like, yeah, I think the media is always going to be, like, I don't want to say it's hopeless for people who are more prone to being radicalized, and it's probably better to have reasonable opinions, but that's how you get non-critical thinking boomers, where, like, they just are also fed one thing and believe only that one thing. Like, you can't force people to be critical thinkers. That's the problem. And like, you can also like being like, some radicals are in a form of critical thinking where they think like one thing may be true and have like found this one thing that they can push back on or whatever. And then yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because like some radicals, like a lot of people who changed the world were radicals. Yeah. Galileo was a radical. Newton was a radical. All of like everyone thinks that they're like Einstein when they come up with this radical theory. Yeah. The problem is, for every Einstein, there's a million fucking dummies. And that's the problem. And that's where I guess we'll leave it with the podcast flies. Yeah. But we're getting back now.
Will we continue? Will we not continue? Why? Because nothing is binary.
Nothing is binary. Everything will keep going. And everything's on the spectrum. Yeah. Especially us.
Probably not.
And with that,
Am I thinking? It's good to know you.
there we go.